What's up, you beautiful people, and welcome to yet another Brandon Bicasso video. If this is your first time stopping by, this is my 2018 Indian Scout Bobber. And if you have not, I highly suggest you subscribe right now so you don't miss anything I got coming up about this bike. So if you haven't, go ahead and hit that sub button. I'll wait. You hit it? All right, cool. For those of you that hit it, welcome to the channel and the community. And for those of you that didn't, maybe I'll get you next time. But today what I want to talk to you, oh wait, actually, hold on. Before we get started, I am 5'10". A lot of you ask me, what's my height? I am 5'10". I'm about 170, 175 pounds. So there's that. That's how I know. Now, what I want to talk to you guys about today is the Trask slip-on exhaust that I got on this bike. And as a little backstory, I've owned this bike since October 2017, so I've had it for about 6 months. So just like I did the 1,000-mile update in the previous video, I wanted to give you guys a little update as far as how my experience has been with this exhaust. So before I bought this exhaust, I was debating between this and the Vance and Hines grenades, and ultimately I went with the Trask slip-ons. Now, at a point blank, on paper kind of look, the Vance and Hines cost more than the Trask exhaust. So I got these slip-ons on RevZilla for about 500 bucks, and I think I put about 800, 900 miles on this exhaust, so I've had them for quite some time. Now, as far as the aesthetics goes, they look very similar to what you would get with the Vance and Hines. So I ultimately wanted a shorter exhaust because the stock exhaust that you get with the Indian Scout Bobber is very long, and it doesn't look that good. Now, what I didn't know, what I'm sure a lot of people probably don't know just by looking at the pictures, these exhausts have no baffles. And by what I mean by no baffles is there's nothing inside of this exhaust that blocks it from the header. So when you actually install this exhaust on this bike, you are pretty much going from headers straight out to the back of the bike. So there's nothing filtering, there's nothing like a silencer or a dB killer that's stopping the noise from being projected on this bike. So you would think, like, how exactly does that affect the performance compared to the stock mufflers? Well, when you take the stock mufflers off, and if you need to see a video on how to do that, when I installed this exhaust, I got a video where I actually installed this exhaust and took off the stock mufflers and everything. So if you need to go check that out, you can go ahead and do so. But on the stock exhaust, you had the catalytic converter, which is of course inside of the muffler. So when you pull that off, you're basically taking all the stock emission stuff that Indian did as far as the muffler goes. So when I installed these, I wasn't expecting to be a straight pass-through. So when you look at this, when you look through them, it's nothing. You're looking straight out. It's just a hollow slip-on. And one of the big reasons why I chose to slip-on over the Vance and Hines, and really anything, is because I want to say that the Vance and Hines also, now that I think about it, it just came back to me. The Vance and Hines comes with headers. So when you change the Vance and Hines exhaust with the stock mufflers, you're changing not only the slips on the end, but you're also changing out the headers. With the Trask slip-ons, you're only changing out the slips. So you're leaving the stock headers as they are. So when you do that, you're changing not only the fuel, the air ratio with the bike, you're changing the back pressure and all that kind of stuff with the headers and also the slips. So for me, I didn't want to do all of that at one time. So I knew I didn't plan on changing the air filter out at once, so I went ahead and got the slip-ons because I knew that wouldn't dramatically change the performance of the bike. Now, does that mean that the bike doesn't need a tune? No, that's not saying that, but I will say that the bike performs very well, pretty much stock, as the way it is with the Trask slip-ons on. So you don't have to worry about getting a tune right away if you decide to go with the Trask slip-ons. Now, for some of you that are curious on whether or not you have to cut that stock exhaust bracket off, for me, I did not have to do that. But if you read the reviews on RevZilla and different websites where they actually sell the Trask slip-ons, they will say that some people say that they had to cut that bracket off to get them installed. But if you see on mine, I didn't have to do that. And again, if you go see my install video and see how I did it, but basically I ended up having to fiddle with it for about 20 minutes, and I was able to get the exhaust mounted without actually having to cut that bracket off. Because for me, I didn't want to remove anything like that stock just in case something happened and I had to put my stock mufflers back. If you take that bracket off, now you're kind of stuck. So for me, I decided to just put the extra few minutes in and figure it out, and I ended up getting them all mounted just fine. Now, somebody also asked me whether or not the mounts on this setup on the Trask exhaust are sturdy, because they thought that the mounts weren't that good, and they felt that the exhaust would come loose, so they would come off of the header. They would come come unfastened off the header. But for me, I haven't had any issues with that. And when I did install this, oh, my knee's getting sore. When I installed this, I did not have, I didn't torque anything down. I kind of just hand tightened and kind of just used my judgment on it. But I haven't had anything to come loose or anything like that. So as far as the mounting goes, they're fine and it mounts pretty well. And if you're worried about that, what you could do, you could just use some thread locker, some very like the blue thread locker that's available. So you have to maybe worry about the bolts backing out. Now, as far as performance goes, now some people say that they got horsepower gains, but with the way that this bike is set up now, you are kind of opening the bike up a little bit. So while I haven't had the bike dynoed, I don't really know as far as what the performance gains are. However, if you are curious, there is a buddy of mine that does have the Vance and Hines grenades on his Indian Scout Barber. That's JFast. You can go check out his channel. He has the Vance and Hines grenades. He has the air filter installed. He's pretty much done all he needs, and he has a tune. He's done pretty much everything he needs to do to kind of deal with that. So if you want to find out his experience with the Vance and Hines grenades, you can go check out his channel and also his Instagram. But for me, so far I haven't had any issues with this exhaust, but I will say that on a scale of 1 to 10, because I know a lot of you want to know how loud these things are, because a lot of people talk about how loud they are. This exhaust is very loud. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would easily put this at an 11. And the reason being, like I said, you're pretty much, if you were to take the slip-ons off and take the muffler off and run the bike with nothing on it, with just headers, that is essentially what this bike sounds like. The only thing that the Trask slip-ons do is that it gives it some kind of deep rumble rather than a wide open sound. So, you know, you're not getting any filtering with this exhaust. So if you're wondering if it's too loud for you, if you stay in a quiet environment, like a quiet neighborhood, or you stay in a quiet workplace and you commute to work, this exhaust is not for you. Like, you won't be able to sneak around. You won't be able to get away from anybody quietly with this exhaust. It is loud to the point where I feel self-conscious riding at certain places because it's just too loud. But does it sound good? That's a different thing. Sounding good and sounding loud is a different thing. I just got a compliment on the way over here to film this from a guy driving a Hellcat, and he said it sounded really good. I told him it sounded like a vacuum stock, but and it really does. If you don't know what the stock sound of a Scout Barber sounds like, here you go. Here's a video of it. So if you hear that it sounds like a vacuum. It's very quiet. So when you install this, I gotta admit that it really opens the bike up and it sounds really good and it makes people more aware of you, but it is really loud. Also, I want to mention that a big factor for me also with the Vance and Hines is that they don't allow you to install passenger foot pegs because the way that they're mounted, they remove that option. So for me, even though I don't have a passenger setup on this bike, I didn't want to remove that ability at some point if I do decide to put passenger foot pegs or a seat on this bike. So the Trask slip-ons do allow you to still mount passenger foot pegs and have a passenger. So for me, I wanted to maximize my capabilities and I didn't want to limit the bike, and that was also my reasoning for not cutting that bracket off. I didn't want to cut it, so I found a way around it. So this bike is completely stock, and if I want to put the stock mufflers back on the bike, I can do so and also not have to worry about the fuel mapping, the air to mix ratio with the bike or anything to be completely off. But as far as like how these sound, oh my knees, y'all. So as far as how these sound on the highway and how they sound in your helmet, there is a bit of drone. Like, you know, when you get to that certain level, you know, it kind of gets that reverb in your ear. I want to say there is a little bit, but it's not bad. And once you get up in the higher gears, you're able to quiet the bike down. But being that this bike does have kind of not a small engine, but not like a big engine where you got that deep rumble, there is kind of a high pitch, but it's kind of right in the middle of high pitch and deep pitch. So, it does have a very deep, roady rumble while you're riding. But if you were to open it up and through the power band, it's gonna make that. If you ever heard Honda and VTEC, that's kind of what it sounds like. It's like, it's kind of that thing. But if I had to say my favorite thing of this exhaust, besides the looks, is that, let me switch knees. Oh man, if I had to give you guys my favorite thing about this exhaust, it would probably have to be when you have it installed. There's this thing that you can do, and you can do it on. Well, you know what? I can't do it on my other bikes. But basically, what I like to do is when I'm high in the RPMs and I'm coming to a stop, when I downshift it, you can preload the exhaust. I mean, not preload the exhaust, preload the throttle just a little bit. And then the bike dumps fuel into the exhaust and it makes some little crackle noises. But it sounds really good. So if you have this exhaust, and maybe even the Vance and Hines, I know those do have a silencer, a DB killer. I don't know what it sounds like. But if you have this exhaust, just try it. Just give it a little preload when you're downshifting, and it makes a little crackle noise. And so I don't know if that's probably not good for gas mileage, but at this point you probably won't even notice since this thing doesn't get good gas mileage anyway. Or at least its tank's small, so whatever. But that's what I wanted to tell you guys on this. Like I said, I really love the exhaust, and I know a lot of you have asked me about it, so I just thought I'd give everybody an update on it. But until next time, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out.